I'd like to start working part-time. Right after I brought it up during the New Year's family gathering, Robin's biting, sarcastic voice cut through the room like a blade. Oh, a housewife wanting a part-time job? Seriously? Your husband makes over $120,000 a year, and it's still not enough for you, is it? What, are you just blowing through his money? Why did Robin feel the need to belittle me like this? What had I ever done to deserve this level of disdain? The question churned in my chest, leaving me breathless. The light-hearted New Year atmosphere disappeared, replaced by a suffocating tension that weighed down on me. It's not like I actually want to get a job. Robin would never understand. I glanced at Ricky, silently begging for his support, but he just looked confused and said nothing. His silence only deepened my sense of isolation. Even Ricky seemed to be abandoning me. As always, the rest of the family aligned themselves with Robin. They all nodded at her words as though she were some kind of oracle. I was always the villain in their eyes. Robin's smug grin spread across her face like a hunter closing in on a wounded animal. Why did she take so much pleasure in breaking me down? What a failure of a wife. Can't even manage the household budget properly. Robin let out a loud laugh, scanning the room as if daring anyone to disagree. At that moment, years of suppressed anger and heartbreak surged to the surface, burning through me. I couldn't stay silent any longer. Today, I would tear away Robin's mask. I would reveal the truth that no one else knew. I lifted my head, locking eyes with Robin in a calm but resolute stare. I live with my husband Ricky and our 6th grade daughter Alana. Ricky is a systems engineer and works long hours as a team lead in his department. He earns over $120,000 a year, a talented professional highly regarded at his company. Before we got married, I worked as an office administrator at a local real estate company. I loved my job, my coworkers, and even our clients, but I decided to become a full-time mom after Alana was born. Ricky was supportive, saying, "Raising Alana comes first. I'm glad you'll be home with her." Ricky's income was enough for us to live comfortably, but I wanted to expand Alana's future opportunities. I planned to start working once she entered middle school. Being a stay-at-home mom didn't mean I wanted to be lazy, so I threw myself into managing the household. Preparing balanced meals for Ricky and Alana's health was my daily joy. I put extra care into the lunches I packed for Ricky to take to work. They were colorful, varied, and always flavorful, so much so that his coworkers often complimented them. Ricky's work schedule was brutal, with late night shifts and many nights coming home on the last train. Lately, even his weekends had been swallowed by work, and he often didn't return until past midnight. "Ricky, you haven't had a break in ages. Are you okay? I'm worried about your health." "Yeah, with what I'm making, I have to stay on top of things. Oh, by the way, I have a business dinner tomorrow, so I'll be home late again." These business dinners had become his go-to excuse for being out late. He often stayed out all night and went straight to work the next day, leaving me to wonder what was really going on. Despite my worries, I was always grateful for Ricky and admired his dedication to our family. One day, Ricky finally took some time off and we decided to spend it together as a family. Our destination? An open house. Our current rental was pricey and falling apart, with wear and tear showing everywhere. I wanted Alana to have her own room, but we just couldn't make it work in our current space. I still remember the sheer happiness I felt when I got my first room as a kid. It's a memory I cherish. I wanted to give Alana that same gift, a space that was truly hers. Having grown up in a loving family, I knew how much it mattered. The model home we were visiting happened to be near Ricky's family home. Wow, this road brings back memories. You know what? Maybe we should stop by Mom's house on the way back. Ricky suggested it casually, as if it were no big deal. Near his family's home. The thought dampened my mood and I didn't respond clearly. I just kept walking. Ricky's family lived in a 3-bedroom house they had inherited from a relative rent-free. His mother, Lois, had been a stay-at-home mom her entire life. She had relied entirely on her late husband, who had been a school teacher and had little experience working outside the home. Lois had 2 children, Robin, Ricky's older sister, and Ricky himself. Under the influence of their strict education-focused father, Lois had poured her energy into raising her kids, though she tended to coddle Robin excessively. Robin had divorced a few years ago and moved back in with her teenage son, Sean. I'd met Robin's ex-husband once. He was kind and didn't strike me as someone who would cause a marriage to end. In fact, I'd overheard Sean say more than once, Dad wasn't the bad guy. It only deepened the mystery of why their marriage fell apart. Not long after Robin moved back in, Ricky's father passed away from an illness. Their father had been strict with both Ricky and Robin, so Lois had followed his lead. But after he died, Lois's favoritism for Robin grew stronger, feeding Robin's already entitled attitude. Robin had become completely self-centered, indulging every whim. Neither Ricky nor Lois dared to challenge Robin. Their household revolved around her. I've always been mild-mannered, so Robin's sharp tongue and emotional manipulation made her difficult for me to handle. Once I'd overheard her complain, "Claire's younger than me, but she gets to lounge around as a housewife? I'm busting my butt at the store just to scrape by." Ever since, her glares and cutting remarks had left me dreading every encounter. In addition, Robin would throw out careless insults or bark orders at me, and I swallowed my pride, trying to avoid conflict at all costs. Thankfully, the area had several model homes from different companies lined up side by side. We ended up touring a few beyond the one we initially planned to see. This conveniently left us with no time to visit Ricky's family, so we headed straight home. On the way back, we passed a bakery that sold the sugar-dusted cream puffs Lois loved so much. I remembered when I used to stop there to pick up treats for them, back when they were kinder to me. Lois used to be so kind too, back before Robin moved back in. She reminded me of my own mom, gentle and thoughtful. But Robin's return had brought out a side of Lois I hadn't seen before, bitter and sharp-tongued. I thought back to the time when Ricky got promoted to team lead and Lois hosted a party at her house to celebrate his higher salary. Ricky has grown into such a wonderful son. It just shows we raised him right. Lois had tears of pride in her eyes, but later in the kitchen she pulled me aside and whispered in my ear, "How long are you planning to keep draining Ricky's paycheck? Alana's practically grown up. You're just staying home because you're lazy, aren't you? Do you even realize how lucky you are to stay at home? You're not showing nearly enough gratitude." I wanted to fire back at her right then and there. Our lifestyle is possible because of Ricky's hard work, and I truly appreciate him for it. Alana is thriving in school, excelling in sports, and surrounded by friends. There's no reason to upend the life we built for her. But as I opened my mouth to speak, I saw Robin standing behind Lois, arms crossed and glaring at me. Fear froze me in place, and the words died in my throat. Robin walked over slowly, her presence overwhelming, as if cornering me. "Claire, you think you're better than me, don't you? You see me, a divorced woman scraping by with a part-time job, and you think I'm pathetic, like I'm some kind of insect. Being a stay-at-home mom doesn't make you special. I hate when you look down on me like that." I had never thought anything like that about Robin, but her baseless accusations and seething anger terrified me. "No, I've never—" I shook my head vehemently, trying to deny it. "Don't lie to me. I can see right through you. Women like you, who've never had to struggle and just lived comfortably off your husband's paycheck, look down on people like me. Someone working at a register just to make ends meet. Sorry my life is so pathetic compared to yours." Robin burst into tears, her sobs loud and dramatic, filling the room. Lois rushed over, rubbing Robin's back and speaking softly. "What a terrible daughter-in-law you are. Robin is doing her best every single day, and you have the audacity to belittle her." Lois defended Robin as if she were a helpless child. I wanted to speak up for myself, but I stayed quiet. If I argued, Ricky would be stuck in the middle between his mother and sister. This same scene played out every time we visited, so I started avoiding Ricky's family altogether. Around Ricky, Lois and Robin always acted sweet as pie. I figured he'd never believe me if I brought it up. Oddly enough, since Robin moved back in, Ricky had also been suggesting fewer trips to his family home. For a moment, I wondered if Ricky had noticed the tension and was quietly supporting me. But every time the topic of his family came up, he grew silent, as though he wanted to say something but couldn't bring himself to. I could sense an uneasiness in Lois, Robin, and even Ricky, as if each of them was carrying a secret. But I couldn't do anything about it, so the days simply passed. One weekday afternoon, as I prepared snacks for Alana before she got home from school, the doorbell rang. On the monitor, I saw Robin standing at the door. What could she want? My stomach tightened with unease as I opened the door. "Sorry to bother you, Clara, but I have something I can only talk to you about." Robin's unusually timid demeanor surprised me. I had never seen her look so vulnerable, and despite everything, I felt a surge of concern. "Robin, if you want to talk, I'm happy to listen. Please, come in." I welcomed her inside, curious and apprehensive. The truth is, I've been diagnosed with a rare illness. There's no treatment for it yet, and the doctors say I might only have a few years left. I haven't told anyone yet. Not Sean, not Mom, not even Ricky. But we're close in age, and I thought you might understand how I'm feeling. That's why I came to you. As she spoke, tears began to roll down her face, and she looked away. I was struck speechless by shock and disbelief. The same Robin who had always treated me so harshly was now confiding something so personal to me. Maybe her behavior, the anger and sharp words, stemmed from the fear and stress of her illness. Thinking about the burden Robin was carrying, I felt my resentment melt away, replaced by genuine sympathy. Robin, is there anything I can do to help? Actually, there is something. Could you lend me the money for the treatment? The treatment is covered by insurance, and I need around $50,000 in cash. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I just don't have that kind of money. $50,000? I hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. You can't put a price on someone's life, but it was still an enormous sum. Of course, you're hesitant. My ex-husband was the same way. He didn't want to waste money on my medical bills, so he served me divorce papers instead. He even said, you can have Sean as long as I don't have to pay for your treatment. Was that really what had happened between Robin and her ex-husband? Hearing this story for the first time, I felt a flash of anger toward him. Ricky would never do something so heartless. Moved by Robin's plight, I decided to lend her the money. I wanted to take it from our joint savings, but Ricky managed the account. Instead, I resolved to use the money I'd saved before our marriage, which I'd set aside over the years. Robin, here's the money. Pay me back when you can, even if it takes time. I trust you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Robin smiled through her tears, her gratitude seeming genuine. I encouraged her. You'll get better, Robin. I know the treatment will be tough, but stay strong. For the first time, I thought maybe our relationship could improve. More than anything, I just wanted Robin to recover and regain her strength. As I walked her to the door, Robin turned back to me and said, Please don't tell anyone about this, especially Ricky. I don't want him to see me like this. I felt touched by what I saw as a sister's deep love and pride. From that day forward, I kept my promise and didn't tell a soul. Instead, I started reaching out to Robin regularly, checking on her health and offering support. A few months later, Robin came to my home again, this time asking for an additional $30,000. By now, I had given her a total of $80,000 from my savings, and my anxiety was growing. Unable to tell Ricky, I bore the burden alone day after day. But Robin had used the word treatment, and I believed her. I didn't let myself doubt her sincerity. Then one day, Ricky said something out of the blue. Claire, do you know where the bank book is? I haven't checked it in a while. My heart skipped a beat. I quickly said, Oh, I must have put it away somewhere, but inside I was breaking out in a cold sweat. It was clear to me that giving Robin any more money would be dangerous. My savings were nearly depleted, yet Robin continued to reach out, claiming she needed just a little more. Slowly, a seed of doubt about Robin began to take root in my mind. Was it really for treatment? Her updates about her condition sounded more dire than before, rather than improving. Amidst this uncertainty, Ricky told me about a family gathering planned for New Year's. We're going to Mom's for a family gathering during the holidays. Though I felt a deep unease about seeing Robin, I decided to go. When we arrived, Lois and Robin stood in the doorway, arms crossed as if waiting for us. Claire, hurry up and put on an apron. You've got a lot to prepare for the party. Don't dawdle. How else are we supposed to host the family properly? Lois's cold, commanding tone stung, but I convinced myself it was the stress of Robin's illness and obediently tied on an apron. Including us, there were about 15 family members in attendance. I had never cooked for such a large group before, and I felt completely overwhelmed as I stood in the kitchen. I'll help out. Cooking for 15 people sounds like a lot. I felt a flicker of gratitude for Ricky's kindness, but Robin quickly cut in. No need for you to help. You work hard all the time. Let your lazy wife handle this. She's got nothing but free time anyway. Robin's scornful words sent Ricky retreating to the family room, shoulders slumped. Watching Ricky bow to Robin's words left me with a sinking sadness. But then Alana appeared quietly at my side. Grandma and Aunt Robin are so mean, always glaring at you. Don't worry, Mom, I'll help you. Let's get through this together. Alana's encouragement lifted my spirits, giving me the strength to keep cooking. But when Lois and Robin saw Alana helping me, they couldn't resist throwing out more snide remarks. Putting your own child to work now? That's just shameful. You're a terrible mother. Lois leaned in to whisper her cruel words, and guilt washed over me. I froze, unsure of what to do. A terrible mother? Could I really be failing Alana that badly? My trembling hands nearly dropped the plate I was holding. Quickly, I wiped away a tear before it could fall. Seeing my distress, Alana quietly came closer and stood by my side. It's okay, Mom. She carried the plates, working diligently without another word, her quiet strength a comfort. Despite the biting words from Lois and Robin, we managed to finish preparing for the family gathering. As the relatives began eating, Lois and Robin wasted no time criticizing my cooking. This stew has no flavor and the vegetables are cut all wrong. It's clear Claire has no sense in the kitchen. We're running out of beer. Can't you be more attentive? Hurry up and get more. I found myself running back and forth between the kitchen and the dining room, fulfilling their endless demands. The constant errands left me dizzy and I slumped down in the hallway to catch my breath. It was then that I overheard Lois and Robin's conversation through the thin walls. That wife of his? She's a lazy, good-for-nothing housewife. She leeches off Ricky's paycheck and lives a cushy life. She's nothing but a parasite. Exactly. She only married Ricky for his money because she has no savings of her own. She's practically a thief, stealing his wealth. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Shaking with anger, I slid the dining room door open with a loud clatter. Everyone in the room froze, startled by my sudden entrance. Awkwardly, they avoided my gaze. I struggled to find my voice as I fought to contain my anger and sorrow, staring directly at Lois and Robin, but Robin ignored my glare, draining her glass before slamming it onto the tray in my hands. Why are you so mad? Did we hit a nerve or something? It won't be long before we get rid of you, you gold-digging thief. Robin's venomous words stunned everyone into silence, their eyes widening in disbelief. Though her accusations left me speechless at first, I felt a surge of determination. I couldn't stay silent any longer. Robin, I spoke in a calm yet resolute tone. The reason we're low on money is because I gave it to pay for your medical treatment. The room fell deathly silent. You said it wasn't covered by insurance, so I gave you $80,000. But now I assume you're all better? Robin's expression shifted instantly, her face turning pale. What? She was visibly shaken. Everyone in the room turned their attention between Robin and me, tension thick in the air. What in the world are you talking about, Claire? You must be drunk or something. Are you okay? Robin grabbed my arm, trying to pull me out of the room, but I shook her off. I've been cooking and preparing for this gathering all day by myself. I haven't had a second to sit down, let alone to touch a drink. My firm tone seemed to give the relatives courage, and they began speaking up one after another. It's true. Claire's been on her feet, working non-stop. She hasn't had a moment to drink. Robin, what's going on here? They turned to Robin, their expressions stern and demanding answers. You must be confused. I don't know what you're talking about. No, this is about the money I gave you for your treatment. You told me not to say anything because you didn't want to worry everyone, so I kept it to myself and gave you the money. Just now you laughed about my savings being gone. Every pair of eyes in the room turned to Robin. I did take the money, but I was planning to pay it back. Besides, with your husband earning $7,000 a month, you're not exactly struggling, are you? Robin's flippant attitude ignited the relatives' anger, pushing them to their limits. Are you serious? $80,000 is a huge amount of money. Poor Claire, being tricked like that. You need to pay her back right now. When are you going to do it? As the relatives hurled accusations, Lois stepped in, trying to mediate. Now, Robin didn't mean any harm. She said she'll pay it back, so let's leave it at that. But the relatives quickly turned their anger toward Lois as well. Lois, maybe this is a reflection of your parenting. No one accidentally scams someone out of $80,000. Lois had no response. She stood there silently looking down. Ricky, too, was flustered, standing helplessly as his mother and sister were bombarded with accusations. Looking at him, I realized there was nothing left to hope for from my husband. In the end, Robin was completely humiliated in front of the family, apologizing profusely and promising to return the money as soon as possible. If it wasn't for medical treatment, then what did you use the money for, Robin? You didn't spend all of it, did you? I couldn't stop myself from asking. I needed to know. I spent it on fun. There's nothing left, not a single cent. The moment those words left her lips, the room froze. The relatives sat in stunned silence, too shocked to respond. Meanwhile, my chest tightened with an overwhelming mix of anger and sorrow. You spent it on fun? What does that even mean? Wait, were all those fancy new designer bags you've been flaunting bought with Claire's money? So you burned through all the money you borrowed? Every last cent? Even Lois looked appalled as she turned to Robin for an explanation. Robin, what were you thinking? That money wasn't for treatment? I can't believe this. Oh, shut up! I said I'd pay it back, didn't I? Isn't that enough? Robin, unable to face the truth, lashed out and stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. Her lies exposed in front of everyone, Robin's once dominant demeanor crumbled as she disappeared from the gathering. She locked herself in her room and didn't reappear until every last relative had left the house. Even as Ricky, Alana, and I prepared to leave, Robin remained hidden. After that day, Robin stopped coming to ask for money, and we were able to enjoy some semblance of peace in our lives. Still, a new unease lingered in my heart. Since that day, Ricky's behavior had become even more distant and cold. At first, I thought he might be feeling guilty for failing to stand up for me, but it soon became clear that wasn't the case. His late nights continued, but now he was glued to his phone, quickly hiding the screen whenever I walked past. His strange behavior set off alarm bells in my mind, leaving me with a growing sense of unease. During this time, Ricky informed me he had found a new house, and we began packing for the move at a rushed pace. Then, less than a week before the move, Lois showed up at our doorstep unannounced. Is everything packed and ready for the move? Yes, the house is almost empty. We just need to pack the last of Ricky's things. Lois looked at me with a sharp smile before delivering her next blow. Good. Then you and Alana can move out right away. That new house? It's for the 4 of us, me, Ricky, Robin, and Sean to live in. So once your things are packed, make sure to leave quickly. I froze on the spot, unable to process what I'd just heard. What did she mean, the 4 of us? I turned to Ricky, disbelief written all over my face. He avoided my gaze, staring at the floor in silence. Ricky? Tell me that isn't true. We're supposed to live there together as a family, right? I pressed him for an answer, but he didn't deny it. He just stood there silent. See, even Ricky agrees you and Alana are in the way, and Ricky's going to cover the entire mortgage on the new house for us. He's so dedicated to his family, insisting we all live together, so just pack up and leave already. Crushed by despair, I stood motionless, my mind racing to grasp the enormity of what I had just heard. I had no idea what to do, and my entire body trembled uncontrollably. At that moment, Alana walked over, took my hand firmly in hers, and held it tight. Mom, it's okay. You have me. For Alana's sake, I couldn't let this betrayal go unanswered. Ricky, everything your mother just said, how do you feel about it? Is this what makes you happy? I steadied myself and fixed Ricky with a piercing gaze, demanding an answer. He looked visibly uncomfortable, but finally spoke, his words like daggers. Well, you've been seeing another man, haven't you? His completely baseless accusation left me stunned. Are you trying to say I'm cheating on you? From the look on his face, I knew he wasn't joking. I was rendered speechless by the sheer absurdity of his claim. Oh, come on, Claire. Did you really think we wouldn't notice? It's obvious if you just watch you for a minute. A cheating woman always gives herself away. Lois smirked at me, her eyes gleaming with malice. It hit me then. This was all part of Lois's scheme. She must have fabricated the story to manipulate Ricky into turning against me. You claimed it was your savings, but how would you feel if I did the same? Giving money away without telling me? You could have asked me just once. You betrayed me. I can't trust you anymore. You're the worst kind of woman. Ricky's angry glare and twisted reasoning filled me with despair. Robin begged me not to tell anyone, not even you. So why am I the one being accused of betrayal? Was trust really this fragile? The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. Here's the divorce papers. I've already signed my part. Just fill it out and get out. I'm the one paying for the new house, so I decide who gets to live there. You and Alana won't set foot in that house. He threw the papers at me, and I stood there frozen, staring at the floor. Oh, Claire, all this packing for your move? It was just to get you and Alana out of here. We timed the move perfectly to cut you both loose. At least you had the fun of preparing for the move. Lucky you. Lois's icy words felt like a dagger, piercing straight into my heart. 15 years of memories flashed before me, shattering into pieces like broken glass. Hey, what are you just standing there for? Hurry up and get out. His shouting echoed around me as I fought back the tears welling up in my eyes. Dad, why are you being so mean? Alana's voice trembled as she asked. Fear etched into her face, but Ricky ignored her entirely, turning away without a word. The tense silence in the room only highlighted the slight trembling of Alana's shoulders. It's okay, Alana. Determined to stay strong as her mother, I squeezed her hand tightly. If you're accusing me of cheating, then show me proof. There's no truth to it. If you're throwing us out, I demand to see the evidence you're basing this accusation on. I looked Ricky straight in the eye, my voice firm with conviction. Shut up! You're the one who cheated, so don't act all high and mighty. I don't need to prove anything. Ricky's irrational shouting filled me with a deeper sense of hopelessness. Without a shred of evidence, he hurled baseless accusations like weapons. The divorce papers lay where he had thrown them, a cruel symbol of my shattered reality. Suddenly, the front door swung open, and standing there was Robin's son, Sean. Aunt Claire, you need to hear this. Sean stepped forward, his voice calm yet determined as he held out his smartphone. Uncle Ricky's the one who's been cheating. He's been having an affair with my mom. Sean's words froze the air in the room, leaving everyone in stunned silence. I stared at Sean in disbelief, bracing myself for whatever he would say next. What the hell are you saying? Ricky looked more panicked than I'd ever seen him, raising his voice in a futile attempt to deny the accusation. Just listen to this. Sean fiddled with his phone and pressed play, letting a recording fill the tense silence. The recording was crystal clear, capturing a conversation between Ricky and Robin. It was undeniable proof of their affair. Worse, it revealed their scheme to keep their relationship a secret while manipulating me. Mom's never worked a day in her life. She'll believe anything we tell her. We'll make her think that Claire's the one being unfaithful. That way, she'll file for divorce first. As the recording played, my mind went blank, overwhelmed by the betrayal. Every action Ricky had taken, every word he spoken, was built on a foundation of lies and deceit. Ricky? What is the meaning of this? Lois's voice trembled with unease as she turned to her son, clearly shaken. Sean pressed on, delivering blow after blow of damning truths. Uncle Ricky spends almost every night with my mom, staying in the same room. And Grandma, you've known about this, haven't you? Caught off guard, Lois flinched and quickly looked away, avoiding everyone's gaze. Well, they've always been so close, so I didn't think much of it. Lois stammered, unable to offer a coherent response. Mom and Uncle Ricky planned everything. They tricked Aunt Claire and stole her savings. At first, they wanted to frame her for using their joint finances to force a divorce, but when Aunt Claire offered her own savings, they changed the plan, and they fed Grandma lies about Aunt Claire having an affair. Sean's calm, methodical revelations left me trembling as the awful truth unraveled. As the accusations rained down on Ricky and Robin, she suddenly snapped. Sean, how could you do this to me? Robin grabbed Sean by his shirt, raising her hand as if to strike, but a nearby relative quickly stepped in to stop her. Calm down. Don't you dare lay a hand on Sean. Robin froze, her hand trembling midair before collapsing to her knees in defeat. Sean, I don't need you anymore. If you hadn't opened your mouth, none of this would have happened. Mom, I couldn't stay silent any longer. I won't stand by and watch my own mother deceive and steal from Aunt Claire. Sean's voice quivered, but his eyes burned with unwavering resolve. Meanwhile, Ricky leaned against the wall, his face pale and drenched in sweat. And you're just as guilty, Ricky. You conspired with Robin to deceive me and steal my savings. Do you even understand how despicable that is? My voice was calm yet piercing as I confronted him. Ricky couldn't muster a single word, avoiding eye contact like a coward. Wait, this has to be a misunderstanding. Lois tried frantically to defend herself, but no one paid her any attention. Ricky, Robin, and Lois, you're all despicable. Betraying your own family like this is unforgivable. The relentless wave of condemnation left the three of them standing frozen, their heads bowed in humiliation. From that moment on, Ricky and Robin's affair became public knowledge, and they were completely ostracized. After consulting with my lawyer, I filed for alimony and child support from Ricky, ensuring he would take responsibility for the damage he caused. Robin wasn't spared either. I pursued repayment of the money she stole and compensation for the emotional pain she inflicted. The court ruled overwhelmingly in my favor, awarding me a settlement of $300,000, a sum that represented both justice and a fresh start for me and Alana. Meanwhile, Ricky's affair became the talk of his office. His colleagues, once respectful, now whispered about him in hallways. He was demoted almost immediately. With his salary slashed in half, he was forced to downsize his lifestyle drastically. Gone were the luxuries he once flaunted. Now every day was a struggle. Robin faced her own reckoning. Word of her betrayal spread like wildfire, and soon even the most sympathetic relatives turned their backs on her. Neighbors avoided her gaze, and she found herself utterly alone. Lois, devastated by the humiliation her children brought upon her, sold her house. Stripped of her pride, she quietly moved into a modest care facility. One by one, their lives unraveled, a fitting consequence for the web of lies and betrayal they had spun around me and Alana. With the settlement money, Alana and I moved into a modest but cozy house in a friendly neighborhood. It became our sanctuary, a place where we could finally breathe and rebuild. At her new school, Alana flourished. She quickly became the star of the volleyball team, her passion and determination shining on the court. I found a position at a small family-owned real estate agency. It was humbler than my previous work, but it gave me a sense of purpose and financial independence. The trials we had endured forged an unbreakable bond between me and Alana. Our late-night talks, filled with laughter and occasional tears, became moments I cherished. In our new community, I made friends and became involved in local events. From volunteering at the town center to organizing bake sales at Alana's school, I finally felt connected. Alana thrived socially as well, surrounded by friends who adored her energy and kindness. Her smile, once dimmed by hardship, now lit up every room. Our home became a haven of joy. Simple dinners around the table, movie nights with popcorn, and mornings filled with Alana's laughter reminded me of how far we'd come. For Alana's sake, I'll face any challenge. Her happiness is my greatest treasure. Ricky, bound by the court's orders, continued to send monthly child support. Each payment hopefully a bitter reminder of the family he had lost. Robin eventually found a job, but couldn't endure the cool stares and whispers that continued to follow her. She packed her bags and left town, fading into obscurity. Lois lived out her days quietly in the care facility, reportedly plagued by regret over her blind support of Ricky and Robin. As for me and Alana, we walked forward with hope in our hearts, our eyes firmly on the bright future ahead. It was a future we had earned through resilience, courage, and love. At one of Alana's volleyball games, I sat in the stands, my heart swelling with pride as I watched her play. Her laughter and the cheers of her teammates lit up the entire gym. We reclaimed our happiness, and I'll never let anyone take it from us again. When the game ended, Alana ran to me, throwing her arms around me with a radiant smile. "Mom, we won!" I held her close, whispering softly, "You're my pride and joy." And together we continued to walk this new life, surrounded by love and unshakable bonds.